Hello there, people of the internet. So I was just doing my thing, messing around with the bunch of stuff that I have behind me here. And one of the things that I was doing is I was determining what I was going to use as like a vehicle firearm. And I've already got like what I use as my general purpose vehicle firearm. But I have, well, we're just going to go ahead and say a second vehicle that does different things than what I normally do on a day-by-day basis, and we're just going to go and leave it at that. So I was debating on what it is that I was going to use in this second truck, and I ultimately decided to myself the best possibility would probably be to stick an AR inside of that vehicle and just have that be the truck gun. So you guys have seen my Delton DTI 15 here on the channel numerous times. That's typically the AR that I show off whenever I'm showing off ARs. Another one you guys see pretty gosh darn regularly is my M16 build here. This is a KP15 lower on a PSA upper. We got some A1 stuff going on. We got some A2 stuff going on. We got some A4 stuff going on. There is definitely not a clone build, but it's just a fun little AR that I have in my possession. So I didn't want to use the fun AR, and I didn't want to use my Delton as the truck gun because those are two that I use very frequently. So you know what I decided to use? I have this Radical Firearms AR that I don't really mess with on the channel. This is definitely one that has not gotten a whole lot of love. I've taken it out, I've shot it, I mean it runs well. I got probably 1,500 rounds through this particular rifle, give or take. I have seen Radical Firearms bolts break on these before, so I went out and I got myself a more expensive bolt. I can't remember what the actual brand was, but I remember it being fairly decent. It cost probably about half as much as the actual rifle here itself, but the bolt and bolt carrier group are one of those like no compromise points where I think that you should have a decent version of those in your rifles if you're going to be relying on them for any real purposes. So the Radical AR, it's halfway decent, it's halfway accurate. I get probably 4 MOA out of this gun. I've taken it out and accuracy tested it on this channel before. I did have some issues in the beginning of running this rifle with steel case ammunition, but after the break-in period and some proper lubrication, now it runs basically everything just fine. We got B5 furniture on this thing, not great. It's a no bells and whistles AR, but whenever I had decided that this right here was probably going to be my truck gun, it dawned on me the way that I was setting it up. I was basically deciding to myself, hey, what do I have around here that I could put on this AR to make it at least like moderately decent? It's not going to be something that I'm going to be using all the time. It's just something that I want to have in the event that I need it. So ultimately what I decided to go with, this had, I don't know, some cheapo Amazon special red dot on it, and it had like the very basic bare minimum Amazon special plastic flip-up sights that you see on like your bottom tier either ARs or airsoft guns. Like there was no metal on it whatsoever. They were just like those cheapo plastic ones that couldn't even be zeroed because whenever you would try to zero it, the front sight would be loose and you could like wiggle it around and it would literally be impossible to zero. As a matter of fact, I made a review on those as well. They should be on the channel somewhere. I could be wrong about that, but they should be on the channel somewhere. But ultimately I decided to myself, right, we're going to take that garbage off of this gun and we're going to go ahead and actually set it up. So I did some looking around to see what I could find, and I was like, alright, what do I have in inventory? Ultimately, what I decided to go with, I got this Sig Sauer. This right here is the Romeo MSR, and it's not the greatest optic, but it's far from a bad optic in comparison to the Amazon special that I originally had on this thing. On top of that, I got a set of Daniel Defense iron sights. I would have preferred some kind of flip-up sight, but I don't have any more flip-up sights that I would feel would be reliable enough for me to adequately rely on this firearm. So upgraded bolt carrier group and bolts. We got SIG MSR red dot. It's good enough for the purposes that we're going to be using this rifle for. And we got ourselves a set of Daniel Defense aluminum iron sights on this thing. I think that this combination is probably going to be able to handle most of the things that I come across. I'm probably going to throw some kind of flashlight on this thing. We'll see what I can find in inventory. I don't know if I have anything that I would feel would be even halfway decent to throw into this gun, so I might have to order something. But in the guise of this video, while I was doing this, I was like, wow, what a combination of stuff. And then it dawned on me, you know, I am willing to bet that a good number of people out there are probably going to be doing exactly what I just did whenever they are setting up whatever rifle it is that they have for whatever purpose. There's a lot of people out there who will tell you, you need to get this brand and this product of this exact item for this exact job, and they'll say it with just a complete certainty. But I'm willing to bet that a good number of us out there will have a rifle that we decide to ourselves, hey, I need this job done. What rifles do I have available to me to do that job? Ah, this one looks good. And then we'll throw on just the most random assortment of stuff onto this gun to try and turn it into whatever purpose rifle it is that we need. In this particular case, I was looking for like a general purpose, not necessarily do everything rifle, but a do most things rifle. Like, we live in some pretty dangerous times right now. If I need a force multiplier, I want to know that I have one in the lockbox of my vehicle. The hidden lockbox of my vehicle, mind you. No one's getting in that. But whether or not you think that you should have a firearm in your vehicle, that's an argument for an entirely different video. The point that I'm making here is that a lot of people's go-to firearm to do a specific job is going to be basically whatever it is that they can throw together. In this particular case, we got a Radical Firearms AR, and for all intents and purposes, this is like a bottom-tier, dirt-cheap, budget, entry-level AR. And then we got ourselves a halfway decent bolt carrier, or bolt and bolt carrier group inside this thing. I can't quite remember what they are, but I remember them being halfway decent. And then we got this SIG Optic on this thing, and I think SIG is a German company. And then we got Daniel Defense iron sights on this thing, and the Daniel Defense, Daniel Defense is not necessarily a really top-tier AR manufacturing company, but they're pretty gosh darn good whenever it comes to the manufacturing of their ARs. They got really good rifles with really good quality control, and it's just thrown onto this budget, dirt cheap POS rifle. Like, let's be real here, it really is a POS rifle in comparison to some other ARs out there. But that being said, it will definitely still get whatever job it is I need to get done. We got your cheapo B5 furniture on this thing, which honestly I might swap out for something else. But for all intents and purposes, I feel like that this rifle right here will be I got the hiccups. My goodness, I got the hiccups really bad right now. I'm sorry, guys. For some reason, whenever I talk a bunch, I end up getting the hiccups, and it's just one of the things that happens to me. But for all intents and purposes, I feel like that this rifle right here will still be adequate enough to do whatever it is that I might need it to do. And it is adequate enough for a lot of other people. That's why so many other people are so comfortable with having a bottom tier AR with just a random assortment of whatever it is that they found, you know, for the cheapest price, or maybe they were gifted it, or, I mean, who knows what happened for them to get their hands on those particular things, and then they throw it all together. And I feel like this right here is the type of assembly that you are most likely to come across, unless we're dealing with people who are really avid shooters, unless we're dealing with people who can really get the most out of what a rifle really is and need the best possible rifle setups, best possible rifle platforms, best configurations, which I am not one of those people, and I'm willing to bet that a good number of people who are watching this are also not one of those people, which is why something like, you know, SIG MSR red dot, I mean, that'll do fine. This was actually my red dot that I used for coyote hunting on my Delton DTI, which is my coyote gun. The Daniel Defense irons, I mean, those are actually some pretty gosh darn good irons, but I would have preferred flip up, but I'm not going to be rocking plastic flip-up sights, and that's all I had. So I went ahead and I threw the Daniel Defense sights on there. And like I said, I think that this is really indicative of what most people are going to end up doing, because this rifle right here will be able to do most of the jobs that most people need to do. And so they're going to call something like this adequate. And for all intents and purposes, something like this is adequate. I mean, that's the whole reason why I set it up, because I needed to do a particular job, and I needed to be adequate at that job. And it was just, I don't want to necessarily use the word humbling, but it really was like kind of humbling while I was just throwing all that together. And I was like, man, this right here is like what everybody else out there is doing. Like, I know I'm the YouTuber and I make the videos and I put them up online and whatnot, but I mean, I'm basically just a guy, just like all you other guys, and I needed a gun for a particular job, and I looked around to see what I had available to me, and I was like, we're gonna go ahead and go with that right there, because I think that's the best option, and I don't want to use my Milsurp guns, because these are my babies, they're my toys, they're the things I take to the range, the things that I take out to enjoy, and they're the things I make the YouTube videos with. This is just one of those ARs that doesn't really pop up all that much, because if I need an AR for representation, I got the Delton DTI, which is really well set up, or I got my retro M16. I don't really use this thing. Like, this right here is literally just a tool to me for a particular job, so it's perfect to stick inside of a vehicle for what might be necessary. Now, more than likely, this right here is going to become the Coyote gun, because the vehicle is going to be used for off-roading and whatnot. But that's a story for probably another video. I wanted to go ahead and share that with you guys. I don't know, because I thought it was interesting. And, I mean, why else do I share anything else that I do? Thanks for watching, folks. Appreciate your time. Like, subscribe, share. Description below is a link to all sorts of stuff. You guys go ahead and go off and have a fantastic day, I guess. Been a little while since I've done this. Bonnie and Clyde be damned. Poor man's Garrett. It's a shame that bolt-action shotguns aren't more mainstream.